Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we go over the WASSCE 2026 Elective Mathematics Objective Questions. Given that x plus square root of 3x plus 4 is equal to 8, find the value of x. Solution. Here we have x plus the square root of 3x plus 4 is equal to 8, right? So here the first step is to move this guy to the right hand side. And so in doing so, we are going to have the square root of 3x plus 4 is equal to 8 minus x. Here we want to get rid of the square root sign, so we have to square both sides. And so squaring both sides, we are going to have square root of 3x plus 4 all squared is equal to 8 minus x all squared. Here, the square roots will cancel out the exponent 2, right? So we are going to have 3x plus 4 is equal to, then we now expand this guy. So expanding this, we are going to have 8 minus x, and then 8 minus x, right? Thus, we have 3x plus 4 is equal to 64 minus 16x plus x squared. So we now solve for x. We now move this guy to the right hand side, and so we are going to have x squared minus 16x plus 64 minus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. So we now add like terms. So we are going to have x squared. So these two guys are like terms. So we are going to have minus 19x. Then 64 minus 4 is going to give us 60. So that's going to give us plus 60 is equal to 0. So we now solve this quadratic equation, right? Factorizing this quadratic equation, you're going to have x minus 4, x minus 15 is equal to 0. Thus, x is equal to 4 or x is equal to 15. Thus, the correct option is option A. With our second question, we have given that n permutation 6 divided by n combination 6 is equal to 12x. Find the value of x. Solution. N permutation x is giving us n factorial divided by n minus x all factorial, right? Likewise, n combination x is giving us n factorial divided by x factorial, then n minus x all factorial. So we are going to use these identities to solve the given question, right? So from the question, we have n permutation 6 divided by n combination 6 is equal to 12x. Now let's take this guy and expand. So here we have n permutation 6, and this guy is giving us n factorial divided by n minus 6 all factorial, right? Likewise, n combination 6 is giving us n factorial, then 6 factorial times n minus 6 all factorial. Thus, n permutation 6 divided by n combination 6 is equal to n permutation 6 is giving us this guy, n combination 6 is giving us this guy, and so we are going to have n factorial divided by n minus 6 all factorial, then all divided by n factorial divided by 6 factorial n minus 6 all factorial, right? And we're being told that this guy is equal to 12x. So we equate this to 12x. Now let's simplify this guy here. As we are going to have n factorial divided by n minus 6 factorial, then times, then 6 factorial n minus 6 or factorial divided by n factorial is equal to 12x. And so here, this guy will cancel out this, and this will also cancel out this. So it's going to left with just 6 factorial. Thus, we have 6 factorial is equal to 12x. So we now solve for x. 6 factorial is giving us 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 is equal to 12x. Right, then we now divide through by 12. That's x is equal to 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 divided by 12, right? 6 times 2 is equal to 12, and so these two guys will cancel out this 12. So you're going to have 5 times 4, which is 20, 20 times 3, which is equal to 60, right? 60 times 1 is just 60. And so x is equal to 60. Thus, the correct option is option B. Question number 3. Find the remainder when 4x cubed minus 5x plus 3 is divided by 2x minus 1. Solution. So we can approach this question in two main ways, right? First of all, we can use the long division approach. Thus, we are going to divide 4x cubed minus 5x plus 3 by 2x minus 1, right? Then we take out the remainder, or we are going to solve for x into x minus 1 is equal to 0, right? Then we substitute the value of x into 4x cubed minus 5x plus 3. Then the answer is going to be our remainder, right? So now let's use the second approach. Solve for x. So here we have 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. So this implies that x is equal to 1/2. Substitute x is equal to 1/2 into 4x cubed minus 5x plus 3, right? So we are going to have 4x is now 1/2, then exponent 3 minus 5x is now 1/2, then plus 3, right? So now let's simplify this. So we are going to have 4 on 8 minus 5 on 2 plus 3. Thus we have 1 on 2 minus 5 on 2 plus 3. And this is equal to 1. And so our remainder is giving us 1. Thus the correct option is option B. Question number 4. Solve sine of x minus cosine of x is equal to 0, where x lies in between 0 and 180 degrees. Solution. So here we have sine of x minus cosine of x is equal to 0. And this is equal to sine of x is equal to cosine of x, right? Where x lies in between 0 and 180 degrees. So here our focus is to find the values of x such that sine of x is equal to cosine of x, right? When we draw a unit circle, we are going to have this guy, right? So this is 0 degrees, 90, 180, 270, and 360, right? That's the upper half of the circle, right? So for this upper half circle, the only place where sine of x is equal to cosine of x is when x is equal to 45 degrees, right? And so here the value of x is equal to 45 degrees. Thus the correct option is option D. Question 5. If the midpoint of x, where x is the point 4 minus 1, and z, where z is the points m and n, is y, where y is 3 minus 4. Find the coordinates of z. Solution. So here we have a point x, which is equal to 4 minus 1. And we also have a point z, which is giving us m and n, right? And we are being told that the midpoint of these 2 points is y, which is giving us 3 minus 4. And so our focus is to find the coordinates of z. Now, how do we find the midpoint of 2 points? So we are going to add the coordinates, right? Then we divide by 2. Let's call this guy, say, x1 and this y1. Likewise, let's call this x2 and y2, right? So we are going to add the x coordinates, then we divide by 2, then we add the y coordinates, then we divide by 2. The midpoint of the x coordinate is, so we add the x coordinate, that's 4 plus m, then we divide by 2, and we're being told that is equal to 3. So we equate this guy to 3. Now let's solve for m. So you cross multiply, so you're going to have 4 plus m is equal to 6. So that's m is equal to 6 minus 4. Hence m is equal to 2. Now let's solve for the y coordinates. The midpoint of the y coordinate is, so you're going to add the y coordinates, then we divide by 2. So we have minus 1 plus n divided by 2 is equal to minus 4, right? So we have here to be minus 4. Now let's solve for n. So you cross multiply, that's minus 1 plus n is equal to minus 8. Hence n is equal to minus 8 plus 1. Thus n is equal to minus 7. Thus the correct option is option C. Question number 6. If B is equal to the determinant of the 2 by 2 matrix given by 4, 4, 4, 6, then we have to evaluate B exponents 1 and 3. B is defined to be the determinant of the 2 by 2 matrix 4, 4, and 4, 6, right? Now let's find the determinant of this matrix. So here, this will multiply this, then minus the product of these two guys, right? So we are going to have 4 times 6 minus 4 times 4. 4, 6 is 24, 4, 4 is 16, and so you're going to have 8, right? And so B is equal to 8. But here our focus is to find B exponents 1 on 3, right? B exponents 1 on 3 is the same as the cube roots of B. Now we have B to be equal to 8, so that's the cube root of 8, and which is equal to 2. Hence, the correct option is option B. Question 7. Solve 3 exponents 5x minus 1 minus 2 is equal to 0. Solution. Here we have the equation giving us 3 exponents 5x minus 1 minus 2 is equal to 0. The first step is to move this guy to the right hand side. And so we are going to have 3 exponent 5x minus 1 is equal to 2. Then we now take natural log on both sides. Taking natural log on both sides gives natural log of 3 exponent 5x minus 1 is equal to the natural log of 2. So by the laws of natural log, we can move this guy in front. And so we are going to have 5x minus 1 multiplying natural log of 3 is equal to the natural log of 2. So when we divide both sides by natural log of 3, we are going to have 5x minus 1 is equal to natural log of 2 divided by natural log of 3. So our focus is to solve for x. So we are going to move 1 to the right hand side. Thus we have 5x is equal to the natural log of 2 divided by natural log of 3 plus 1. Thus we have 5x is equal to 1.63093. So we are going to divide through by 5. And so we have x is equal to 1.63093 divided by 5. X is equal to 0.32619. Thus, the correct option is option B. Question number 8. The first and the last terms of an arithmetic progression AP are 7 and 70 respectively. If the sum is 385, find the number of terms in the series. Solution. The sum of an AP is given by xn is equal to n on 2 multiplying a plus l, where a is the first term and l is the last term and n is the number of terms. From the question, we have the first term a to be equal to 7 and the last term l to be equal to 70, and the sum, that's xn, is equal to 385, right? And so we are going to find n, right? So now let's substitute these guys into this formula, right? Then we solve for n. Thus, we are going to have 385 is equal to n on 2. A is 7 and L is 70, right? So then let's solve for n. We're going to cross multiply. So 2 times 385 is going to give us 770 is equal to n. 7 plus 70 is 77, right? So to solve for n, we are going to divide by the coefficient, which is 77. And so we have n to be equal to 770 divided by 77. Thus, n is equal to 10. So the correct option is option B. Question 9. If f prime is equal to 4x cubed minus 6x plus 1 and f at 1 is equal to 0, find f of x. Solution. Here we are given the derivative of f to be equal to 4x cubed minus 6x plus 1. So to find f, you have to integrate f prime to get f, right? So now let's compute the integral of f prime. And so f of x is going to be the integral of f prime of x with respect to x. And so we are going to integrate 4x cubed minus 6x plus 1 with respect to x. So we are going to add 1 to the exponent, then we divide by the new exponent, right? So we are going to have 4x exponent 4, then divided by 4 minus 6x squared divided by 2 plus, when you integrate 1, you're going to have x, then plus a constant c, right? So let's simplify this guy further. So here 4 will cancel 4 and 2 will cancel 6. So you're going to have here to be 3, right? So you're going to have x4 minus 3x squared plus x plus c. So this is f of x, right? But we are being told that f evaluated at minus 1 is equal to 0. So that's when x is equal to minus 1, the function value is equal to 0. So we're going to substitute in minus 1 into this expression, then we equate it to 0. Then we can now solve for c, right? And so we are going to have minus 1 exponent 4 minus 3 minus 1 squared, then plus minus 1 plus c, and this is equal to 0. So minus 1 exponent 4 is 1, minus 1 squared is 1, so that will be minus 3, then minus 1 plus c is equal to 0. Thus c is equal to 3. So we have the value of c to be equal to 3. So we hence f of x is equal to x4 minus 3x squared plus x plus c, but c is now equal to 3. And so this is f of x. Thus the correct option is option D. Question number 10. The deviations of the sets of data from the mean are minus 7, minus 5, minus k, 2k, and 3k. Find the value of k. Solution. The sum of deviations from the mean is 0. And so here we have the deviations to be minus 7, minus 5, minus k, 2k, and 3k, right? And so when we find the sum of these guys, it should be equal to 0. That's minus 7 minus 5 minus k plus 2k plus 3k should be equal to 0. Then let's solve for k. So here we are going to have minus 12 plus 4k is equal to 0. Thus 4k is equal to 12. Hence k is equal to 3. And so the value of k is 3. Thus the correct option is option C. Question number 11. Given that 18 on y squared plus 1 on y is equal to 4, find the positive value of y. Solution. Here we are given the equation 18 on y squared plus 1 on y is equal to 4. and we are being asked to solve for y. So the first step is to multiply both sides by y squared. So we're going to have y squared multiplying 18 on y squared plus y squared multiplying 1 on y is equal to 4y squared. And so here, this will cancel that. So we are going to have 18, and also this will cancel one of these. So that's going to give us y is equal to 4y squared. Now let's move this guy to the right hand side. So we are going to have 4y squared minus y minus 18 is equal to 0. Now let's find the factors of these guys. So here we are going to have 4y squared minus 9y minus 8y minus 18 is equal to 0. Factorizing this, we are going to have y plus 2 multiplying 4y minus 9 is equal to 0. So that's y is equal to minus 2, or y is equal to 9 on 4. But since we are interested in only the positive values of y, we are going to discard this guy. So here our answer is y is equal to 9 on 4. Thus the correct option is option D. Question 12. There are 6 passengers in the bus. In how many ways will 4 passengers alight one after the other in 4 different bus stops? Solution. Here we have 6 passengers in total, and we also have 4 distinct bus stops, and 4 passengers will alight at 4 different bus stops. Using permutation, we have 6 permutation 4, right? That's, we have 6 passengers in total, and we are finding ways to arrange 4 passengers at 4 different locations. And so this is going to give us 6 factorial divided by 6 minus 4, or factorial. So that's, we have 720 divided by 2 factorial. That's 720 divided by 2, which is going to give us 360. As the correct option is option D. Question 13. Find, in terms of pi, the area of the circle given by the equation x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y plus 3 is equal to 0. Solution. The equation of a circle centered at AB with radius r is given by x minus a all squared plus y minus b all squared is equal to r squared, right? So here we must find a way to rewrite the equation x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y plus 3 is equal to 0 in this form, right? Then we can now find the radius, and we know how to find the area of a circle. Let's rewrite this equation. So we are going to have x squared plus 4x plus y squared minus 6y plus 3 is equal to 0. So here let's take the terms with x and x squared, right? So here we have x squared plus 4x. By the method of completing of squares, we can rewrite this equation as, so the method says that find the half of this guy. So half of 4 is going to be 2. Then you square 2, that's going to give you 4. Then you add and subtract. So we are going to have x squared plus 4x, then plus 4 minus 4. This term here is just x plus 2 all squared, right? So we are going to have this to be x plus 2 all squared. Then we now add the minus 4 to it, so minus 4, right? Likewise, we are going to take the terms with y and y squared. So we are going to have y squared minus 6y. The method of completing of squares says that find half of this guy. So half of minus 6 will be minus 3. So when you square minus 3, you're going to have 9. So you're going to add 9, then you subtract 9 at the same time, right? So we're going to have y squared minus 6y plus 9 minus 9, right? And this guy here is just y minus 3 all squared, right? So we are going to have y minus 3 all squared, then minus 9. Thus, this equation is going to be, so here we have x squared plus 4x, but x squared plus 4x is given by this guy here. So you're going to have x plus 2 all squared minus 4, and we have y squared minus 6x, which is given by this guy here. So that will be plus y minus 3 all squared minus 9. Then we have this 3 right here. So plus 3 is equal to 0. So simplifying this, we have x plus 2 all squared plus y minus 3 all squared. So here we have this guy minus 4 minus 9 plus 3. So that's going to give us minus 10 is equal to 0. Thus, we have x plus 2 all squared plus y minus 3 all squared is equal to 10. When we compare these two equations, we have a to be equal to minus 2, b to be equal to 3. Now, here should be r squared, right? But here we have 10. And so we can rewrite 10 as the square root of 10 all squared, right? Since these two guys will cancel out, right? And so we're going to have our equation to be x plus 2 all squared plus y minus 3 all squared is equal to square root of 10 all squared. And so here we have our radius to be equal to the square root of 10, right? Because this is squared, and so r is going to be square root of 10. So once we have our radius, we know that the area of a circle is giving us pi r squared. So we have pi, the radius is the square root of 10, then we square it. Thus, the area of the circle is equal to 10 pi square units. Thus, the correct option is option B. Question 14. Given that r minus 29x all divided by 2x squared plus 3x minus 35 is equal to 5 on 2x minus 7 minus 17 on x plus 5. Find the value of r. Solution. So here we have to compute the value of r, right? So since the denominators are the same, the numerators must also be equal, right? So now let's focus on the right hand side. So let's find the LCM, then we can simplify our resulting expression, right? So the LCM will be giving us the products of the denominators. So that's 2x minus 7, then x plus 5. So now let's subtract these guys. So here this will cancel that. So you're going to have this guy multiplying 5. So that will be 5 multiplying x plus 5. Then minus, so here this will cancel out this. So this guy times this. So we have 17 multiplying 2x minus 7. Now let's simplify the numerator. So this times this times that. Likewise, this will multiply this will multiply that. So at the end, we are going to have 5x plus 25. Then minus 17 times 2 will be minus 34x. And then we have minus 17 times minus 7. And that's going to give us 119. So let's simplify this guy here. So the denominator stays the same. So we have 2x minus 7, x plus 5. And so here we have 5 minus 34. That's going to give us minus 29x. And we have 25 plus 119. And that's going to give us 144, right? And so here, since the denominators are the same, then the numerators must be the same, right? So here we have minus 29x minus 29x. Thus, r is equal to 144. Hence, the correct option is option D. Question 15. Consider the propositions X denotes Stephen is good at biology and Y denotes Stephen is good at health education. Write in symbolic form the statement Stephen is not good at both health education and biology, right? So now first of all, let's find the statement health education and biology. So and is denoted by this symbol, right? And so we are going to have X and W, that's biology and health education. But since we are focusing on the not side, so the not operator is giving us this tilde symbol, right? Hence, our statement is not X and W, right? And so the correct option is option A. Question number 16. If log of 2x is equal to 2 on 3 and log of 2y is equal to 3 on 2, find the value of log of 2, the square root of y exponent 4 divided by x exponent 3. Solution. So here we have log of 2x to be given as 2 on 3 and log of 2y given as 3 on 2, right? And we're being asked to compute log of 2, then the square root of y exponent 4, then x exponent 3. So now let's rewrite this guy here, right? So we can rewrite the square root as exponent 1/2. So we are going to have log of 2, the square root of y exponent 4 divided by x cube is equal to, so we have log of 2, then y exponent 4, x exponent 3, all exponents 1/2, right? So here we can move the exponent 1/2 in front. So we are going to have 1/2 out. Then we have log of 2 y exponent 4 divided by x exponent 3. From the laws of log, suppose you have log of a, then x on y. This is equal to log of ax minus log of ay. So we can apply the same law here. So we are going to have 1/2 out log of 2 y exponent 4 minus log of 2 x exponent 3, right? Also here we can move the exponent in front, then you move this exponent also in front, right? So we are going to have this to be equal to 1/2 out, then 4 log of 2y minus 3 log of 2x. But log of 2y is equal to 3 on 2 and log of 2x is equal to 2 on 3, right? So now substituting these values, we are going to have 1/2 out. So 4 times log of 2y, which is giving us 3 on 2, then minus 3 log of 2x, which is giving us 2 on 3. So we're going to simplify this guy. So we have 1/2. 2 goes into 4, 2. So that'll be 2 times 3, which is equal to 6. Minus 3 goes into 3, 1. So that'll be minus 2. That's our results is equal to 2. Hence, the correct option is option B. Question number 17. If the domain of f, where f is defined to be this guy, is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, find the range. Solution. The range of a function is the set of all possible outputs. So here we have the function f of x defined to be 1 on 2 plus x, and the domain is giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So now let's compute f of 1. So f of 1 is going to be 1 on 2 plus 1, which is equal to 1 on 3. Likewise, f of 2 is going to be 1 on 4, and f of 5 is going to be 1 on 7, right? Thus, the range of this guy is giving us, so the range is a set of all possible outputs. So we have 1 on 3, then we're going to have 1 on 4, then we have 1 on 5, 1 on 6, and 1 on 7. And so this is the set of the range, right? Now let's rewrite this in an inequality form, right? So we want to rewrite this guy as, let's say, a less than or equal to f of x less than or equal to b, right? So here a is always less than b, right? 1 on 7 is less than 1 on 3, right? So we are going to have this guy to be equal to 1 on 7 less than or equal to f of x less than or equal to 1 on 3, right? Thus the correct option is option B. Question number 18. Given that P, which is given as this, and Q given as this guy, and R given as this guy, and we have to find the magnitude of 3P minus 2Q plus R. Okay. Solution. The vector P is given as 3I minus 7J. Q is given as 4I minus 9J. And R is given as minus 2I plus 5J. Now let's compute 3P minus 2Q plus R. So we're going to have 3 multiplying P, so that's 3 times 3I minus 7J. Then minus 2 multiplying Q, that's 4I minus 9J. Then plus R, which is given as minus 2I plus 5J. Thus, we are going to have 9I minus 21J minus 8I plus 18J minus 2I plus 5J. So when you add the I components, that's 9 minus 8 minus 2, we are going to have minus 1, that will be minus I. And when we add the J components, that's minus 21 plus 18 plus 5, you're going to have 2. So that will be 2J. Now let's compute the magnitude. So the magnitude of 3P minus 2Q plus R is equal to the square root of, so the I component is minus 1, so that will be minus 1 squared, plus the J component is 2, so that will be 2 squared. Then this is going to give us the square root of 5, which is equal to 2.23606. Thus, the correct option is option D. Question number 19. Which of the following matrices does not have an inverse? Solution. A matrix does not have an inverse if the determinant is equal to 0, right? So let's compute the determinant of each of these guys. So the one whose determinant is 0 is the matrix that does not have any inverse. The determinant of the first matrix is equal to minus 1, right? So with the second matrix, this times that is equal to 0, right? And this times that is equal to 0. And so this determinant is equal to 0. Now with the third one, we have this times that, so that's going to be 1, then minus 0. So that's the determinant of the third matrix is equal to 1. With the last one, we have 1 times 1 is 1, then 0 times 1 is 0. So the determinant of the last matrix is equal to 1. And so here we have this determinant to be 0. And so the matrix in option B has no inverse because its determinant is 0. Question number 20. Factorize 8p cubed minus 27. Solution. So here we have 8p cubed minus 27, right? Now we can rewrite 8 as 2 exponent 3, right? So that will be 2 exponent 3 p cubed minus. Also, we can rewrite 27 as 3 exponent 3. So that will be minus 3 exponent 3, right? We can combine this as a single term, right? So that will be 2p all exponent 3. Because if you have ab exponent n, this is just an bn, right? So then this will be minus 3 cube. Now, suppose you have a cube minus b cube, right? We can expand this as a minus b, then multiplying a squared plus ab plus b squared, right? So here we have this guy to be in this form, right? Where A is now 2p and B is equal to 3. And so using this identity, we can rewrite this guy as, so we have A minus B. So that's going to give us 2p minus 3. Then multiplying A squared. So A squared, that will be 2p all squared. So 2p all squared is going to give us 2 squared p squared. And that's 4p squared. So we have here to be 4p squared. Then plus A times B. So A times B. So that's going to give us 6p plus B squared. And so B is 3. So that's going to give us 9. Thus, the correct option is option A. Question number 21. If 1 plus 2x all exponents n is logically equivalent to the square root of 0.98, what are the values of x and n? Solution. Here we have 1 plus 2x all exponents n, and we're being told that this is logically equivalent to the square root of 0.98, right? So here we can rewrite the square root as exponent 1/2. And so this expression is going to be 1 plus 2x exponent n is logically equivalent to 0.98 exponent 1/2. And so here we can say that n should be equal to 1/2. So if n is equal to 1/2, then the expressions in the brackets must be the same, right? So here we are going to say that 1 plus 2x should be equal to 0.98, right? Then we now solve for x. That's 2x is equal to 0.98 minus 1. That's 2x is equal to minus 0.02. Hence, x is equal to minus 0.01. Thus, the correct option is option A. Question 22. If P is equal to 2i minus 7j, Q is equal to xi plus yj, and P plus 3q is equal to I minus 5j, find the values of x and y. Solution. Here we have P to be equal to 2i minus 7j and Q to be equal to xi plus yj, right? And we are being told that P plus 3q is equal to I minus 5j. So now let's compute P plus 3q. So P is giving us 2i minus 7j, then plus 3 times q. So that will be 3 times xi plus yj. And this should be equal to I minus 5j. So let's expand this. So we are going to have 2i minus 7j, then plus 3xi plus 3yj should be equal to I minus 5j. So we are going to add all the I components on the left hand side and all the j components on the left hand side. So we are going to have 2 plus 3x, all multiplying I, plus minus 7 plus 3y, all multiplying j should be equal to the right hand side, that's I minus 5j. The coefficients on the left hand side for the I component should be the same as the coefficients on the right hand side for the I component. Likewise, the coefficients of the j components on the left hand side should be the same as the coefficients of the j component on the right hand side. Thus, we are going to have 2 plus 3x should be equal to the coefficients on the right hand side for the I component. Thus, 3x is equal to minus 1, hence x is equal to minus 1 on 3. With the j component, we are going to have minus 7 plus 3y is equal to minus 5, right? So that's y is equal to 2 on 3. Thus, the correct option is option C. Question number 23. if f of x plus 1 is equal to 2x cubed minus 4x plus 2, find f of 2. Solution. From the question, we have f of x plus 1 to be equal to 2x cubed minus 4x plus 2. And we are being asked to compute f of 2, right? So the question now becomes, how do we get f of 2 from f of x plus 1, right? So note that when x is equal to 1, then you're going to have 1 plus 1, which is 2. So then you're going to get f of 2, right? That's you're going to equate these two guys. So that's you're going to solve x plus 1 is equal to 2. Hence, we have x to be equal to 1. So you're going to substitute in x is equal to 1 into this equation, right? Then we're going to have f of 2. For x is equal to 1, we are going to have f of 1 plus 1 is equal to, so that will be 2 times 1 cubed minus 4 times 1 plus 2. So that's going to be f of 2 is equal to 2 minus 4 plus 2. And this guy is going to be 0, right? And so f of 2 is equal to 0. Thus, the correct option is option A. Question number 24. Find the minimum value of y is equal to x squared plus 9x minus 17. Solution. In order to find the maximum or the minimum value of a curve, we need to find the critical point, right? So we have to differentiate, then we set it to 0. And so here we have y is equal to x squared plus 9x minus 17, right? So let's differentiate. So dy dx is going to give us, so when you differentiate x squared, you're going to have 2x. When you differentiate 9x, you're going to have 9. Set dy dx to 0. Thus, we have 2x plus 9 is equal to 0. And so we have x to be equal to minus 9 on 2. And so we have our critical point to be equal to minus 9 on 2. From here, our next step is to substitute the critical points into the equation. So from the equation, we have y is equal to x squared plus 9x minus 17, right? But now x is equal to minus 9 on 2. And so you're going to have y to be equal to minus 9 on 2 all squared plus 9 times minus 9 on 2 minus 17. So we are going to have 81 on 4 minus 81 on 2 minus 17. And this is equal to minus 149 divided by 4. Thus, the correct option is option D. Question 25. Given that 1 plus square root of 3 or multiplying y minus x square root of 3 is equal to 5, find the slope of the line. The equation of a line is given as y is equal to mx plus c, where m is the slope and c is the y-intercept, right? And so if we are able to express the above equation in the form of y is equal to mx plus c, then we are going to take the coefficient of x as the slope of the line, right? And so here we have the equation to be 1 plus the square root of 3 or multiplying y minus x square root of 3 is equal to 5. So our next step is to move this guy to the right hand side. In doing so, we are going to have 1 plus the square root of 3 times y is equal to x square root of 3 plus 5. So let's divide through by the coefficient of y. So we are going to have y is equal to x times the square root of 3 divided by the coefficient of y, which is 1 plus the square root of 3 plus 5, then divided by 1 plus the square root of 3. And this is equal to the square root of 3 divided by 1 plus the square root of 3, or multiplying x plus 5, then 1 plus the square root of 3. This equation has the form of y is equal to mx plus c, where m is giving us the coefficient of x, that's square root of 3 divided by 1 plus the square root of 3. right? And so here we have our slope to be equal to square root of 3 divided by 1 plus the square root of 3. Now let's rationalize this guy, right? Thus, we are going to have square root of 3 on 1 plus the square root of 3 times 1 minus the square root of 3 divided by 1 minus the square root of 3, right? And so here, this guy will multiply this, and this will also multiply that, right? And so for the numerator, we are going to have square root of 3 minus 3 divided by, and for the denominator, we are going to have 1 minus 3. And this simplifies to minus 3 plus the square root of 3 divided by minus 2. Hence, the slope is minus 3 divided by minus 2 plus the square root of 3 divided by minus 2. And this can be rewritten as 3 on 2 minus 1 on 2 square root of 3. So that's the slope of the given line. Thus, the correct option is option D. Question 26. Given that P is the complement of Q, where P and Q are subsets of the universal sets mu, which of the following statements is not true? Solution. From the question, we know that P is equal to the complement of Q, and P and Q are all subsets of mu, which is the universal set. So mu is the universal set. Since P is the complement of Q, then P intersection Q will be equal to the empty set, right? Because P is the complement of Q, so they have nothing in common, right? The third option is true. Now let's check the fourth option. So we are being told that P and Q are subsets of the universal set mu, right? And P is the complement of Q. So that's P union Q will be the universal set. So that's the fourth option too is correct. So we have P intersection Q or complement, right? So P intersection Q or complement can be expanded as P complement union Q complement, right? But what's Q complement? Q complement is just P, right? And so we can rewrite this guy as P complement union Q complement is P, right? When we find the complements of P, we're going to have P complement is equal to Q complement complement, and Q complement complement is just Q, right? So P complement is equal to Q. So this is going to be Q union P. And so here, the second option is correct. And so the only one which is not correct is option A, right? Option A is not correct because we can rewrite P complement union Q complement as P intersection Q all complements, right? But here, this expression is not the same as this expression, right? And so option A is wrong. Thus, the correct option is option A. Question number 27. A particle is acted upon by forces F1 given as this guy, F2 and F3. Find the force required to keep the particle in equilibrium. Thus, at equilibrium, F1 plus F2 plus F3 plus F4 should be equal to 0. So we are going to have 7, 3 plus 3 minus 1 plus minus 2, 5 plus xy should be equal to 0, 0. Right, then we now solve for x and y. So from the first row, we are going to have 7 plus 3 minus 2 plus x should be equal to 0. So let's solve for x. X is equal to minus 8. From the second row, we are going to have 3 minus 1 plus 5 plus y is equal to 0. Hence, y is equal to minus 7. Hence, f4 is equal to minus 8 minus 7 newtons. Thus, the correct option is option B. Question number 28. Calculate the coefficient of x exponent 4, y exponent 3 in the binomial expansion of 2x minus y on 2 all exponent 7. Solution. The general formula for the r plus 1th term of a plus b all exponent n is given as n choose r, then multiplying a n minus r times b exponent r. From the question, we have 2x minus y on 2 all exponent 7. And we're being asked to find the coefficient of x exponent 4, y exponent 3, right? And so here, r is equal to 3, and n, which is the exponent here, that's 7, right? So n is equal to 7. And so from our formula, we are going to have 7 choose 3, then a, and a here is giving us this guy here, that's 2x. So you're going to have 2x, 7 minus 3 is going to be 4, so that'll be 2x all exponent 4, and b is giving us minus y on 2. So that's going to be minus y on 2 all exponent 3. Then we now simplify, then we get our coefficients, right? Now for this guy here, we have 7 choose 3, right? So that's 7 factorial, then 3 factorial, then 7 minus 3 all factorial. Then we have 2x all exponent 4, then minus y on 2 all exponent 3. Let's simplify this guy here. So in simplifying, we are going to have 7 factorial divided by 3 factorial times 4 factorial. Then here also we are going to have 2 exponent 4, then x exponent 4, because if you have ab all exponent n is equal to an bn, right? So likewise for this guy, we are going to have minus 1 on 2 all exponent 3 y exponent 3. This term is going to simplify to 7 times 5, right? Because they are going to cancel out. So you're going to have 7 times 5, 2 exponent 4, then we have minus 1 half exponent 3, then x for y cube, right? At the end, we are going to have minus 70, then x exponent 4, y exponent 3. Thus, the coefficient of x exponent 4, y exponent 3 is minus 70. Thus, the correct option is option A. Question number 29. The operation triangle is defined on the sets P, Q, and R given by the table below. Find the inverse of the element Q under triangle. Let the inverse of Q be Q exponent minus 1, right? That's Q inverse. Then Q triangle Q inverse should be equal to the identity element E, right? So in order to find Q inverse, we must first find the identity element E. E is an identity if Q triangle E is equal to Q. So here our focus is to find the element such that Q triangle, that element is going to give us Q, right? So from the table we have Q triangle Q is going to give us Q, right? And so the identity element is equal to Q, right? Likewise, P triangle, the identity element should give us P. And so we have P triangle Q is equal to P. Also, R triangle Q is equal to R, right? So that's the identity element is Q. And so this equation now becomes Q triangle Q inverse should be equal to Q. Thus, from the table, we have Q triangle Q is equal to Q, right? Hence, Q inverse is Q. Thus, the correct option is option A. Question 30. A force of 40 newtons acts on a particle of mass 8 kg which is at rest. How far will the particle move in 4 seconds? Solution. From the question, we have F giving us 40 newtons and M giving us 8 kg. And the particle is at rest, and so the initial velocity u is equal to 0. And we have t giving us 4 seconds. So let's find the acceleration. So F is equal to ma, that's A is equal to F on M. So F is 40 newtons and M is 8 kg, right? Thus, the acceleration is giving us 5 meters per second squared. The distance denoted by x is equal to ut plus half at squared. From the question, u is equal to 0 because the particle is at rest, and a is found to be 5 and t is equal to 4. Thus, the distance s is equal to 0 plus 1 half. A is giving us 5 and t is 4, so we're going to square it. 5 times 16 divided by 2, which is equal to 40 meters. Hence, the correct option is option A. Question 31. Simplify 1 plus sine of x multiplying 1 minus sine of x, all exponents 1 over 2. Solution. Here we have the expression 1 plus sine of x multiplying 1 minus sine of x, all exponents 1 on 2, right? So now let's first simplify what's inside the square brackets. So we have 1 plus sine of x times 1 minus sine of x, right? So binomial expansion, this times this, and this will multiply that, right? So at the end, we are going to have 1 minus sine of x plus sine of x minus sine squared of x. And so these two guys will cancel out. So we are going to have 1 minus sine squared of x. And what's 1 minus sine squared of x? That's cosine squared of x, right? This expression is now giving us cosine squared of x. So that will be cosine squared of x, all exponents 1 over 2, and which is equal to cosine of x. Thus, the correct option is option B. Question number 32. Kofi attended a selection interview for 3 jobs. There were 3, 4, and 2 candidates for the first, second, and third jobs, respectively. Find the probability that he will be selected for only one of the jobs. Solution. Let the first, second, and third jobs be represented by A, B, and C. Then the probability that Kofi will be selected for the first job is given by 1 on 3 because there are 3 candidates for the first job. Also, P of B will be given as 1 on 4, and P of C will be giving us 1 on 2. Then, probability that Kofi would not be selected for the first job is equal to 2 on 3. Likewise, probability that Kofi will not be selected for the second job is giving us 3 on 4. And probability that Kofi will not be selected for the third job is giving us 1 on 2. Now, let's compute the probability that Kofi is selected for only the first job. So that's probability that Kofi is selected for the first job and he is rejected for the second and also rejected for the third job. So that's going to give us 1 on 3 multiplying 3 on 4 multiplying 1 on 2. And that's equal to 1 on 8, right? Also, probability that Kofi will be selected for only the second job is AC intersection B intersection C complement, right? And that's going to give us 2 on 3 times 1 on 4 times 1 on 2, and that's equal to 1 on 12. And lastly, the probability that Kofi will be selected for only the third job is, so he is rejected for the first job and also rejected for the second job, and then he is selected for the third job. So that will be 2 on 3 times 3 on 4 times 1 on 2, and this is equal to 1 on 4. Hence, the probability that he is selected for only one job is the sum of these guys. Thus, probability that he is selected for only one job is 1 on 8 plus 1 on 2 plus 1 on 4. And this is equal to 11 on 24. Hence, the correct option is option A. Question number 33. If y divided by the square root of 3 minus 1 is equal to 3 plus 3 square root of 3, find the value of y. Solution. Here we have y divided by the square root of 3 minus 1 is equal to 3 plus 3 square root of 3. So we can divide this by 1, then we cross multiply. So we are going to have y is equal to square root of 3 minus 1 multiplying 3 plus 3 square root of 3. So let's expand this. So you're going to have 3 square root of 3 plus 3 times 3, right? Because square root of 3 times square root of 3 is equal to 3. So it's going to multiply this guy here. Then minus 3 square root of 3. And so here, these two guys will cancel out. So you're going to have 9 minus 3, which is equal to 6. So our result is equal to 6. Hence, the correct option is option D. Question 34. Evaluate the limit as x approaches 5 of x squared minus 25 divided by x minus 5. Solution. We have limit as x approaches 5 of x squared minus 25 divided by x minus 5, right? And so here, if we try to substitute in x is equal to 5, we are going to have here to be 25 minus 25, which will be 0, then divided by, this will also be 0, right? And this is undefined, right? And so we can't just substitute this guy in. So we first have to simplify this expression, right? So here we have x squared minus 25. And this is difference of squares, right? Because we can rewrite 25 as 5 squared. So we are going to have here to be x plus 5 and then x minus 5. So we are going to substitute this in place of x squared minus 25. Thus our limit becomes limit as x approaches 5 of x squared minus 25 is giving us x plus 5 times x minus 5, all divided by x minus 5. And so this will cancel that, right? So at the end, we are going to have limit as x approaches 5 of x plus 5. So when we substitute in 5, we're going to have 5 plus 5. So our result is equal to 10. Hence, the correct option is option D. Question number 35. Calculate the mean deviation of 3, 5, 8, 11, 12, and 21. Solution. In order to calculate the mean deviation, we must first compute the mean. So the mean is giving us sigma xi divided by n, right? Where n is the number of points. And so here we are going to have 3 plus 5 plus 8 plus 11 plus 12 plus 21 divided by 6, right? When you add these guys, you're going to have 60, and so we have 60 divided by 6. Thus, the mean is equal to 10. So once we have the mean, we have to compute the absolute deviations. Thus, we compute the absolute value of xi minus the mean, right? So here, mean is equal to 10. So this will be equal to absolute of xi minus 10, right? So for each of these points, we are going to subtract the mean from it. Then we take the absolute value. For xi is equal to 3, we are going to have 3 minus 10, which should be minus 7. But we are taking the absolute value. So that is going to give us 7. Likewise, for xi is equal to 5, we are going to have this guy to be 5. For xi is equal to 8, this guy is going to be 2. Then this is 1, 2, and 11, right? So we now have the absolute values of the deviations. We now compute the mean of the deviations, right? So that's you're going to have 7 plus 5 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 11 divided by the number of points, which is equal to 6. So when you add the numerators, you're going to have 28, then that will be divided by 6. Thus, the mean deviation is 14 on 3, which is approximately equal to 4.67. Hence, the correct option is option A. Question number 36. Find the magnitude of the resultant of the forces P, which is 12 Newton and 35 degrees, and R, which is 8 Newton and 210 degrees. Solution. So here we have P giving us 12 newtons and 35 degrees, and R, which is giving us 8 newtons and 210 degrees. The first step is to resolve these forces into the coordinate axis, that's the x-axis and the y-axis, right? So now let's take the force P. So for P, you're going to have P of x, that's P along the x-axis, will be giving us 12 times cosine of 35, and this is equal to 9.83, right? Now let's compute P along the y-axis, so that's going to be 12 times sine of 35, and this is going to give us 6.88. Also, let's compute R along the x-axis. So that's going to be 8 times cosine of 210. And this guy is equal to minus 6.93. Then R along the y-axis is going to give us 8 times sine of 210. And this is equal to minus 4. Our next step is to compute the resultant force. So we are going to add the x component, then we add the y components. The resultant force along the x-axis is equal to 9.83, then plus, we now add the x components here. So that will be minus 6.93, and this is equal to 2.90. Also, the resultant force along the y-axis is 6.88 minus 4, right? And this is going to give us 2.88. Thus, the resultant force is R is equal to 2.90I, then 2.88J, right? And so here we can compute the magnitude of the resultant force. So that's the magnitude of R is equal to the square root of 2.90 squared plus 2.88 squared. And this is equal to 4.09 newtons. And so the magnitude of the resultant force is 4.09 newtons. Hence, the correct option is option D. Question number 37. The probabilities that Kofi and Adams hit a target in shooting competition are 1 on 2 and 1 on 3 respectively. What is the probability that only one of them will hit the target? Solution. Let pk be equal to 1 on 2 be the probability that Kofi hits the target, and let pa, which is equal to 1 on 3, be the probability that Adams hits the target. Then the probability of Kofi not hitting the target is 1 minus 1/2, right? So that's going to give us 1/2. And also the probability of Adams not hitting the target is equal to 1 minus 1 on 3, which is equal to 2 on 3. The probability that Kofi hits the target and Adams misses the target is giving us the probability of Kofi hitting the targets and Adams missing the target, right? So that's P of K intersection A complement. The probability of Kofi hitting the target is 1 on 2, and probability of Adams missing the target is 2 on 3. So you're going to multiply with 2 on 3, right? So this is going to give us 1 on 3. Our next step is to find the probability that Adams hits the target and Kofi misses the target. So that will be probability that Adams hits the target and Kofi missing the target will be giving us the probability of Adams hitting the target is 1 on 3, multiplying the probability of Kofi missing the target is 1 on 2. And so this is going to give us 1 on 6. That's the probability that only one hits the target will be the sum of these guys, right? So that will be 1 on 6 plus 1 on 3. And this is equal to 3 on 6, which is equal to 1 on 2. Hence, the correct option is option A. Question 38. If h is equal to the integral of 3t squared plus 2t dt, and h is equal to 4 when t is equal to 1, find h. Solution. Here we have h giving us the integral of 3t squared plus 2t dt, and h is equal to 4 when t is equal to 1. So now let's compute this integral. So we are going to have h is equal to, so you add 1 to the exponent, then you divide by the new exponent. Thus, we're going to have 3t cubed divided by 3 plus 2t squared divided by 2 plus a constant c. So simplifying this, we're going to have h to be equal to t cubed plus t squared plus c. But here we are being told that when t is equal to 1, we have h to be equal to 4, right? So let's substitute in t is equal to 1 into this equation, then we equate it to 4. So we're going to have 1 cubed plus 1 squared plus c is equal to h, but h is equal to 4. So this will be equal to 4. Hence, c is equal to 2. So we substitute 2 in place of c, right? Thus, h is now giving us t cubed plus t squared plus 2. Hence, the correct option is option D. Question number 39. Express the recurring decimal 0.636363 and so on as a single fraction. Solution. We have the decimal giving us 0.63636363 and so on, right? We can rewrite this decimal as 0.63 plus 0.0063 plus 0.000063 and so on, right? And so here, the right hand side now becomes a geometric series, of which the first term A is giving us 0.63 and the common ratio is giving us the second term divided by the first term, right? So that's going to give us 0.01. So we can now find the sum to infinity, right? Since the common ratio is less than 1. The sum to infinity of a geometric series is giving us a divided by 1 minus r, right? So here a is giving us 0.63, then divided by 1 minus 0.01. Thus, we have 0.63 divided by 0.99. And this is equal to 7 on 11. Thus, the correct option is option A. Question number 40. A particle of mass 4 kg at rest is acted upon by forces 2I minus 3j and minus 6I plus 11j. Find its velocity in 5 seconds. Solution. From the question, we have mass giving us 4 kg, and we have F1 giving us 2I minus 3j, and F2, which is giving us minus 6I plus 11j. Now let's compute the resultant force of these forces. So the resultant force will be giving us the sum of these guys, right? So when we add the I components, 2 plus minus 6 is going to give us minus 4, and minus 3 plus 11 is going to give us 8. So the resultant force is minus 4I plus 8j. So once we have the resultant force, we can compute the acceleration, right? F is equal to ma. Now we have the mass, and so the acceleration is giving us F divided by m. So that's we have A is equal to, so the force is the resultant force. So that's this guy here. So we are going to have minus 4i plus 8j divided by 4. And so the acceleration is giving us minus I plus 2j. Now let's compute the velocity. So we know that v is equal to the initial velocity u plus at. From the question, the particle is at rest, and so the initial velocity is 0. So that's u is equal to 0. And t from the question is giving us 5 seconds, right? So let's compute v. So v is giving us u, which is 0 because the particle is at rest. Then a is giving us this guy here. So that's minus I plus 2j times t, which is giving us 5. Thus, v is equal to minus 5i plus 10j. Hence, the correct option is option B. Thank you for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.